Welcome to Movies in a Nutshell. This is Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, a 2003 film directed by Peter Jackson, based on the third volume of JRR Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. This film is the final entry in the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. The film begins with a flashback sequence where we are introduced to the hobbit Smeagol, where he first comes across the One Ring. He is fishing with his cousin Deagle, who gets pulled into the river by a large fish. While underwater, Deagle discovers the ring. Smeagol's mind is ensnared by the ring, and he tries to take the ring from Deagle. When Deagle refuses, Smeagol kills his cousin for it. Because of his actions, Smeagol is exiled. He retreats into the Misty Mountains, where he is forced to live in a very harsh environment. After years of physical and mental hardship, he evolves into the creature Gollum. Centuries later, we rejoin Gandalf, who leads Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and King Theoden of Rohan to Isengard, where they reunite with hobbits Merry and Pippin. Saruman, now a prisoner in his own fortress, refuses to help Gandalf. Saruman attempts to attack them, but is stabbed by Grima Wormtongue and falls to his death. Gandalf retrieves Saruman's Palantir, the magical Seeing Stone, and the group returns to Edoras, the capital city of Rohan, to celebrate their victory at Helm's Deep. Pippin looks into the Palantir, seeing Sauron and a burning tree. Based off of Pippin's vision, Gandalf determines that the enemy plans to attack Gondor's capital city of Minas Tirith. Gandalf takes Pippin and rides to Gondor to warn the steward Denethor of the oncoming attack. He encourages Denethor to signal Rohan for help. Pippin pledges his service to Denethor and reveals that his son Boromir was killed while trying to save him and Merry. Denethor does not trust Gandalf and refuses to reach out to Rohan. Gandalf instructs Pippin in lighting the beacons, which will call for the help of Rohan. King Theoden decides to answer the call for aid and sends word across the lands of Rohan to help in the oncoming fight. Frodo and Sam continue their journey towards Mordor, unaware that Gollum, now their guide, plans to betray them and take the ring for himself. The trio witness the Witch King of Agmar, the Lord of the Nine Nazgul, setting off towards Gondor with his army of orcs. Gollum conspires to frame Sam for eating food supplies and desiring the ring. Influenced by the growing power of the ring, Frodo is taken in by the deception and orders Sam to go home. Gollum then tricks Frodo into venturing into the lair of the giant spider Shelob. Frodo narrowly escapes the giant spider and is attacked by Gollum, who then falls down a chasm. Shelob discovers Frodo outside of her lair. She paralyzes and binds Frodo. Determined to help his friend, Sam returns and wounds Shelob, driving her away. Sam thinks that Frodo is dead and takes the ring in order to complete the quest. Sam realizes his mistake when a group of orcs take Frodo captive. He follows them to their fortress, where he manages to rescue Frodo as the orcs fight amongst themselves. Now inside Mordor, the hobbits continue towards Mount Doom, their final destination. While King Theoden gathers his army, Elrond arrives at their camp and tells Aragorn that Arwen is dying and refusing to leave Middle-earth. Elrond gives Aragorn Anduril, the reforged sword from the shards of the sword that cut off Sauron's ring. Elrond encourages Aragorn to commit to claiming Gondor's throne, to which he is the heir. Only then will Middle-earth have a chance at surviving. Joined by Legolas and Gimli, Aragorn travels the path of the dead and meets the Ghost King, the leader of the cursed Gondor army. Aragorn declares that he is the rightful king of Gondor and pledges to release the ghosts from their curse if they help him save Gondor. Meanwhile, Faramir, who was earlier overwhelmed and driven back to Minas Tirith by the Witch King, is gravely wounded in a suicide charge. Believing his son to be dead, Denethor falls into madness. Gandalf marshes the defenses and encourages Gondor's army to fight, but the huge orc army breaks into the city. Denethor attempts to burn himself and Faramir, but Pippin alerts Gandalf and they rescue Faramir. Denethor, set ablaze and in agony, jumps to his death. Theoden arrives and leaves his grand army against the orcs. Despite their initial success against the orcs in the ensuing battle, they are disseminated by the Oliphant-riding Haradrim, and the Witch King mortally wounds Theoden. However, his niece Éowyn slays the Witch King with Merry's help. Theoden dies in his niece's arms. Aragorn then arrives with his army of the dead, who overcome Sauron's forces and win the battle. With their oaths fulfilled, the dead are released from their curse. Aragorn decides to march on Mordor to distract Sauron from Frodo and Sam. All of Sauron's remaining forces march to meet Aragorn's diversion, allowing the hobbits to reach Mount Doom. Gollum, who survived his earlier fall, attacks them, but Frodo still manages to enter the mountain. Sam fights off Gollum and follows Frodo into the mountain. There, he finds Frodo, who has succumbed to the ring's power. Frodo puts the ring on his finger and disappears. Gollum manages to bite off the ring finger and reclaims the ring for himself. They struggle together and both fall off the ledge. Gollum falls and is consumed by the lava of Mount Doom. With the ring in his hands, it meets the lava and is disintegrated. Frodo manages to cling onto the edge and is pulled up by Sam. Mount Doom erupts as Sauron meets his demise. His fortress crumbles as the ground swallows up the orcs of Mordor. Aragorn's army emerges victorious as the enemies flee. Gandalf rescues the hobbits with the help of the eagles, and the surviving fellowship is happily reunited in Minas Tirith. Aragorn is crowned king of Gondor and marries Arwen. The hobbits return home to the Shire, where Sam marries Rosie Cotton. A few years later, Frodo departs Middle-earth for the Undying Lands with his uncle Bilbo, Gandalf, and the elves. He leaves Sam the Red Book of Westmarch, which details all of their adventures. Sam returns to the Shire, where he embraces Rosie and their children.